Coming off the bye, nothing has changed. Ohio State remains the team everyone else is chasing.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. During today's show, we will discuss what to make of the first three games Brandon Inniss has played this year, as well as a few guys that are shining in their new roles. But first, every player and coach knows that when you're at Ohio State, you're always going to be hunted. People are always coming and trying to either tear down Ohio State or take down Ohio State because it just means more to be a player or coach in Columbus, Ohio. And then when you add in the fact that Ohio State is the defending national champion and they were the number one team in the country heading into the bye week, those are just added reasons for people to go after Ohio State. In a week when Ohio State didn't play, and Oklahoma looked pretty good in beating Auburn, Miami looked pretty good in beating Florida, people may be wondering if Ohio State was going to fall outside of that number one spot, and they didn't. And they are where they deserve to be. Ohio State has been the best team in the country all season long, and I'm glad the pollsters got it right by putting Ohio State where it belongs in the number one spot in the latest AP poll. Yes, it would have been justifiable by some to put Miami at number one, but I think it's very clear and has been for a long time that Ohio State is the best team in the country. They're still being chased, not just because they're Ohio State, not just because they're the defending national champion. They're being chased because they are still the best team in the country, and the pollsters got it right this week. And I say it that way on purpose because while Ohio State didn't play, Penn State also didn't play, and Penn State fell one spot. You might be saying, Jay, why did Penn State fall one spot? Penn State's undefeated like Ohio State. They play in the same conference. They're both 3-0. Why did Penn State fall? Well, Penn State ain't played nobody. They haven't played anybody at all. I looked up at one point when they were playing Villanova, who was the FCS school, and they were only up 10-0. And this is in the latter part of the second quarter. And so to me, Villanova is kind of like scrambling. You should be just blow them out the water. Why are you only up 10-0? And I think the pollsters saw that. Now, Penn State is still getting some first place votes, just like Miami got some first place votes. Ohio State got 52, Miami got 7, Penn State got 5. And so you may be saying, Jay, is this right for Penn State to fall? I think so, because Miami is in the ACC. They're 4-0. They beat Florida this past weekend. They beat Notre Dame week 1. They have some pretty good wins and a really good resume. I have no problem with where they are. I have a problem only with a lot of the other teams in the top 10. It's all going to work itself out. We'll go 10 through 1 and talk about a big matchup this weekend outside of Ohio State playing Washington that'll kind of level out the teams in the top 10 of the AP poll, where over the next few weeks, you'll see some teams fall, some teams jump in, because people are showing that they have what it takes to be in this exclusive group. 10 through 1 in this week's AP poll. Texas is number 10. Texas A&M is number 9. They had a bye this past weekend. Florida State is number 8. They just smacked Kent State 66-10. Number 7 is Oklahoma. 6 is Oregon. 3 is Georgia. 4 LSU. 3 Penn State. 2 Miami. And number 1 is once again the Ohio State Buckeyes. This weekend, you're going to get, I believe it's this weekend. It could be wrong, but I believe this weekend is 3 versus 6. Penn State is hosting Oregon in the annual whiteout game, where that used to be an Ohio State or Michigan game where Fox and Big Noon kind of shifted Penn State's plans as far as when the whiteout is going to be. You're going to see if these two teams are real, because I think Oregon is real. I don't know if Penn State is real. I have not seen anything from Penn State yet based off the talent or the teams that they have played that has shown me that they are a real team, that they have what it takes to go and be a really solid, a top 10, top 5 team. I have not seen that yet. I'm not sitting up here saying that it can't happen. I just haven't seen it. Oregon looks really, really good. Miami also looks really good. LSU looks pretty good. Georgia looks really good as well. So Georgia plays Alabama coming up. Oklahoma and Texas have the annual Red River rivalry game. Everything in the top 10 is going to work itself out. When Miami gets into the heart of ACC play, they should be expected to beat a lot of teams in there. I don't know if they play Clemson this year, but if they do, it's possible Dabo's not there because based off of things that Dabo Swinney has said recently, he sounds like a man that's about to get fired. I'm not going to call for the man's job. I am just hearing what he is saying, looking at his body language, and realizing Dabo Swinney might not be there through the end of the year, especially if Clemson continues to have these games like they've had recently. I mean, losing to Syracuse? What are we doing? You're a Clemson. You're a Tiger. Especially when you're at home, you should never lose to Syracuse. But the way the cookie is crumbling right now, it seems like it's crumbling for Dabo Swinney literally right before his very eyes, and he is looking like he might not be there at the end of the year. Miami should be fine. LSU, Georgia, Indiana's at number 11 right now after they just put the beat down on Illinois over the weekend. And Kurt Signetti, say what you want about him. Maybe you like him, maybe you dislike him. Indiana looks like a team right now that if they keep playing like this, they'll be in the top 10 before you know it. They might be in the top 10. Ohio State has everything you want in a team right now. You have a quarterback that's steady, playing better than advertised. You have a backfield that has three solid guys. I believe the best guy is the youngest in the bunch. Then they'll be able to work that thing out to get the right guys there. The Buckeyes offensive line is hitting on more cylinders than you think they would hit on early in the year, where the offensive line normally starts to take stride and they get into a rhythm in games 4 through 6 during the second quarter of the season. They're hitting that stride right now. Defensively, what else can you say? It's not a Caleb Downs thing. It's a thing where everybody that steps on the field for Ohio State is prepared for battle every single week. They know the game plan. They are prepared. They watch the film. They know what Matt Patricia is throwing at them, but they're not shy in regards to asking questions to learn more. They understand everything. And for the Buckeyes right now, they're sitting in a spot that everybody else wants to be in. Miami wants to be there. Penn State wants to be there. LSU, Georgia, Oregon, Oklahoma, all of them want to be there. Even Indiana, which is weird for me to say this, I think this team could be a whole lot better than a lot of people thought in the preseason. Myself, true. I didn't think Indiana was going to be this good. I also think Illinois is overrated. So maybe Indiana was underrated and Illinois was overrated, but Illinois might still end the year with 2 or 3 losses, which really isn't that bad for the Fighting Illini, because you already know they're going to have one when Ohio State goes to town and brings the Ella Buck trophy back to Columbus. Ohio State has shown everybody that they are the best team in the country. They have earned the right to be the number 1 team in the country, and there's no reason why, even coming after an off week, Ohio State should have been justified in some people's minds to not be the number 1 team in the country. They're number 1 in the AP poll. They're still the defending national champion. You're an Ohio State Buckeye. Everybody is chasing you. And while the chase is on, Washington is going to try to knock off the Buckeyes this upcoming weekend. And for them to not be successful in their quest, there's some guys that have been big in their new roles this year that have shined through the first 3 games. We will discuss some of those players after the break. This episode is brought to you by the Game Cap. Quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the game. These aren't just hats. They're the same vintage styles fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you choose code Locked On, you will get your vintage hat for $16.99. Remember, go to thegamecaps.com and get your vintage hat. Use code Locked On, and you will get your vintage hat for $16.99. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design, and remember to use code Locked On for an exclusive discount, because legends wear the game. Thank y'all for tapping and Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Ohio State, man, they're the number one team in the country. They've been playing really good ball this year. I mean, I think it's kind of easy to forget how elite Ohio State has been in 2025. I don't use that word lightly or loosely because I think it gets thrown around way too much, similar to saying somebody is a generational talent. And I remember he was saying that about Arch Manning and about Jeremiah Smith, and realizing there's only one that could potentially be a generational talent right now. That's Jeremiah Smith. I'm not here to say that he is. I'm here to say in this conversation, when there have been two players that have been called generational talents, one guy showed that he might be able to fit that description. Another guy has not. I think Art is going to be fine. Some of his mechanics have not been up to par. But a quarterback whose mechanics have been up to par so far, Julian Sayin. And for a guy who's stepping into a new role this year that is with big shoes to fill, as Will Howard is now off to the NFL, transferred into Ohio State. In his 1 year at Ohio State, he became a one hit, not wonder, a one hit that you want to just think about over and over and over again, because that hit led Ohio State to winning a national championship. Didn't know I was going to try to use a music reference, could be movie reference here in this part of the show, but here we are. And Julian said it's come in and been phenomenal. His numbers are eye popping. He has thrown 8 touchdowns. His completion percentage, 78.9%. Thrown for 779 yards. You can't really complain about what he has done. Has he been perfect? No. Has he been asked to be perfect? Absolutely not. From the first week where Ryan Day said, hey, just win, baby. That's it. To the Grambling game, to the Ohio game. What are you finding? Julian Sayin is doing what he's supposed to do. Lead the Buckeyes offense in the ways that he's asked to lead the offense, and make sure Ohio State wins the games they're playing. That's it. That's what he is doing. And for Julian Sayin, to me, the way he has been this year has been phenomenal. I am not ready to crown him and make these big, bold statements like, oh, he's going to be a Heisman finalist or he's going to win the Heisman. No, we have not seen him play against back-to-back power conference teams. No, you saw him play against Texas. That was a very vanilla game plan that worked for Ohio State to win. But I think moving forward, when you go to Washington, and then Minnesota comes to town, and Illinois and Wisconsin are back-to-back road games, you're going to see more of what Julian Sayin is made of. And I think Julian Sayin is going to be just fine. I'm not here to make the Heisman proclamation yet, but if he keeps playing at this level that he's currently on, you're going to hear me come on this show and discuss, oh, Julian Sayin for Heisman or Julian Sayin for any postseason award. That'd be something I'm going to say here, and I think you're going to like the words that will come out of my mouth when it comes to campaigning for Sayin to get some more attention. There is another guy that I believe has done a phenomenal job who is stepping into a bigger role this year that might not be realized as it's a bigger role. It's Carnell Tate. Now, Carnell Tate was a starter last year, but he was the third option as a receiver. It was Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and then Carnell Tate. Well, Carnell Tate through 3 games so far, 12 catches, 219 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, 18.3 yards per completion. Oh, that's also the highest on the team. Excuse me, second highest, but Marlon Graham only has 1 catch. So for those that have 10 or more catches or 5 or more catches, Carnell Tate has the highest yards per completion or yards per reception number at 18.3. That's just insane. Losing Egbuka from the team, you were wondering, how is Tate going to handle this bigger role? He's handling it just fine. There's no reason to think that he's not going to be able to continue this level of play over the next few weeks and months, because Carnell Tate, he got bigger, faster, stronger. He became a better route runner. He is just more refined when he's out there on the field, more refined and deliberate in his moves when blocking, more refined and deliberate with the steps in his route. He's smoother and quicker out of his break. He is doing a better job of high pointing the ball. I mean, Carnell Tate to me is, now I'm not going to say like the ideal running mate, because Jeremiah Smith can work with different receivers. But Carnell Tate's what you want from a Buckeye receiver. Someone who just gets better and better and better, but also with the hype that is surrounding his name coming into Ohio State. He is staying level headed. He is staying even keel. He is not just listening and going with the wind of the day. He is doing his job and doing it at a great level. CJ Donaldson, to me, is going to be, I won't say overrated, but one we talked about enough. I mean, I've fallen into the trap of that as well, where Donaldson has the most carries on the team. He's averaging 4.6 yards a pop, has 151 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, added in 3 receptions for 22 yards. His debut for Ohio State has been great. Absolutely great. Has he been perfect? No. Is he probably going to be your lead back? No. But what has he been asked to do? Get some tough yards, catch the ball out of the backfield, be somebody that can be more of an all-around back than he was at West Virginia. And Donaldson has answered that to a T. There's absolutely no reason for Ryan Day or Carlos Loughlin to say he's failed, which they haven't said that, or he is not getting the job done, because he's 100% getting the job done. When you come into a place and you're the elder statesman, yeah, Peoples is talented and Bo Jackson is talented. When you come into a new place and you got talent all around you, it'd be very easy for you to say, oh man, I know I'm new here, but these guys are so good. I'm just going to lay back, lay low a little bit, and allow them to shine. It'd be very, very easy to do that. But no, what has he done? He came in, he shed some LBs, he followed through, and he listened to Ohio State strength and conditioning program and the nutritionist, and got his body right, more prepared for what Ohio State is going to ask of him. And he has been great. He's been absolutely great. On the offensive line, I'm going to go to defense here in a second. Didn't realize how much time we're going to have in this show on this topic. But Ohio State's offensive line, you can't really complain. Tegra has played better. Not perfect. He has played better. Austin Serva at a new position at left tackle. One that many people thought was the wrong decision for Ohio State to put him there at left tackle. He has been fun to watch. Adding Luke Montgomery, Carson Hinsman, Philip Daniels, and then Ethan Onyanwa. The top 6 offensive linemen at Ohio State have been phenomenal. And Onyanwa was one where you thought, and I thought, the best spot for him is tackle. I think long term, the best spot for him is also tackle. I don't think he's a long-term guard. But based off this team, the trust you have in Servell, the trust you have in Philip Daniels, it is very clear that what you have right now with this unit is 6 guys that can start, but you can only start 5. So instead of just trying to not allow a guy to get more run, you play him, rotate him. And eventually, my hope, this is my goal for Tegra Shabola, you don't have to rotate. You can play 60 to 70 snaps a game and be just fine. That's my hope and that's my goal. Because it should be Tegra's goal. It should be Tyler Bowen's goal for Tegra. That Tegra does not need to be rotating anytime he's out there on the field. No, just that he can go out there and get the job done every single day. Also, since we're on offense a little bit, we're going to push things back a little bit and allow more time for defense in the very next segment, because this tight end room, I got to go over the numbers. Just know that you think about Max Clare, Will Kazmarek, Bennett Christian, Jelani Thurman, Nate Roberts. All of these guys have been phenomenal players for Ohio State so far. And it's one where Max Clare is hyped up. Will Kazmarek is a guy that's trying to get better, more all-around tight end. And what are you finding with these guys? They are accomplishing their goals. So far on the year, there have been 4 tight ends that have caught passes. Will Kazmarek has 4, Max Clare has 4, Jelani Thurman has 4, and then Bennett Christian has 2. Now, I didn't say Nate Roberts has caught a pass. He has been on the field at some very key moments, including against Texas, where Ohio State went to a heavy set and scored their first touchdown of the game, where Nate Roberts was in the backfield playing fullback. I like what Ohio State has with the tight end room. And while these guys are new faces in new places, Kazmarek playing a bigger role, and Max Clare is literally on a new team. They are so much fun to watch. And hats off to Coach Key, because Keaton Bailey has his boys ready every single week. That was a lot of guys that have stepped up in big roles so far. On the offensive side of the ball, we will discuss those new faces in new places on defense after the break. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Guys, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by using FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's the local sports bar packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades. These are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. There's a local barbecue spot in my neighborhood that comes alive every Sunday during football season. There's Everyone's in team colors. The energy is incredible, and it feels like the entire block is in there cheering together. It's the kind of place where you walk in and everyone knows your name. The staff are like family, and they've been serving this community for years. Spending money there doesn't just support the businesses, it supports the people behind it and the community around it. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. Once again, you can go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. Thank you all for tapping and Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. I know a lot of you missed the potential crossover a couple of weeks ago where there was a comment about it. We're trying to get a crossover schedule coming up later in the week, as well as some of the normal guests that flow through in a game week on the show to talk about and prepare for Ohio State's next game. It's a road game at Washington. It's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be a tough battle because both teams are good. Washington has potentially the best quarterback, running back, receiver trio in the entire country in Damon Williams, Jonah Coleman, and Denzel Boston. But for those three guys to be so good, they haven't seen a defense like what Ohio State is going to throw at them this weekend, because Ohio State's defense has been a lot of fun to watch. And as there are new faces in new places, I can't go any further than on defense, a guy who was starting this year for the first time in his career in ARV Reese, because ARV Reese has been, oh my gosh, one of the linebackers that you dream Ohio State has. I mean, Ohio State's going to have great linebackers and elite linebackers no matter what you would think. That's not a foregone conclusion or expected. It's going to happen every year. Well, maybe it's expected. It just doesn't always become reality. But right now, when it comes to Ohio State's linebackers, Sonny Styles is a dude. Arvo Reese is a difference maker. I think Arvo Reese potentially is going to have a chance to be a better linebacker than Sonny Styles in college. And Sonny Styles is really, really good. Arvo Reese currently leads the team in tackles with 20. He has 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 pass breakups as well. And his combination of speed, length, being able to go sideline to sideline, being able to read and react at an elite level, Arvo Reese to me, when it comes to new phases and new places that are shining through the first 3 games, I mean, he is as big a reason as anybody else on the team that Ohio State is still being chased as a number 1 team in the country. I mean, yeah, on offense, they're being chased because of, well, Julian Sayin's QB1, going to get chased. Or the offensive line's doing pretty good. They're going to get chased. On defense, you're literally hunting the opposing team, the guy that has the ball, you're hunting him every single play. Trying to make sure that offense with a unit of 11 doesn't move the ball. You're literally hunting every single play. You don't know what's coming your way. You have no idea. But what Arvo Reese is doing is showing everybody and their mama, we are more prepared for you. We are prepared for whatever you're going to throw with us. Yeah, Damon Williams, really good at quarterback. Dual threat ability that could be a game changer. Jonah Coleman might be the best might be the best back in the Big Ten, potentially one of the best backs in the entire country. And with ARV Reese right there in the middle, it is possible, more possible than some people might want to give credit to and say that it's possible, that Ohio State's defense slows down Washington's offense. They just put up 59 points against Washington State in the Apple Cup because Ohio State is led by a guy in ARV Reese that is going to play like a literal madman. Somebody else I want to touch on really quickly is Jalen McClain. Last week, my guy, Ryan Roberts, came on the show and said McClain is the perfect running mate for Caleb Downs, and I wasn't going to knock him or say no to it because I think that Jalen McClain has been, my gosh, you're replacing Lathan Ransom, and you might, at the end of the day, be a better all-around safety than Lathan Ransom. But Lathan Ransom was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. McClain is second on the team in tackles with 17. He also has one pass breakup. He's not someone that's going to be out there getting a lot of sacks or getting a lot of interceptions. No, he is just a sure tackler. McGarry and Tim Walton have done a great job with the technique that they have been teaching and coaching these guys up. When you think about technique with on a unit, when Igbenogson a year ago was the most penalized corner in the country, and then all of a sudden Igbenogson is not really finding himself being penalized like he was a year ago, that goes to what he's being coached up and taught in practice. I mentioned earlier about Brandon Inniss and about, well, some may say he's having a slow start to the year. And I wouldn't go that far. I think with this new role, you have two receivers right now that both have over 10 receptions. Jeremiah Smith has 20. Carnell Tate has 12. Brandon Inniss only has 5 catches in 3 games, 5 for 37, and no touchdowns. And some would be saying, well, Jay, is it really a reason for you to be concerned about Brandon Inniss because of his slow start to the year? And I would say absolutely not. Against Texas, you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know what Texas' defense was going to do. And I don't think that that's really a reason to be concerned because there's only one touchdown caught, and it wasn't Jeremiah Smith that caught it. It was Carnell Tate. And outside of that, there really wasn't much action through the air. And I think Sayin, I know he had less than 150 passing yards. I want to say he had less than 130. That wasn't on Brandon Inniss. And then against Grambling and against Ohio, Grambling, he barely played a half. And against Ohio, Sayin just took what the defense gave him and threw the ball to the tight ends way more than normal. That's not a Brandon Inniss thing. That is a thing where the offensive game plan, just the offensive flow, didn't call for Inniss's number to be called a lot. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. The one area where I think Inniss needs to potentially change, and this actually goes to some of the coaches at Ohio State, I have not been satisfied with his ability to return kickoffs or punts. And I know coming in, people are saying, oh, he's a easy guy to go out there and to be the Buckeyes returner for kickoffs and punts. I would love to know what people are basing that opinion off of, and I would love to see that footage because what I have seen so far has shown me that Inniss probably should not be back there returning kickoffs and punts. Probably not. Actually, he shouldn't be. I almost say probably. Let's just keep it real. He shouldn't be back there. And that's not to say that he might not be able to do it down the road, but so far, for what you've seen, nah. For me, I want to close up with this because, well, I feel like maybe ruffling some feathers a little bit, which I don't think you're going to ruffle any feathers, but saying somebody should be back there returning kickoffs or punts, that might hurt somebody's feelings. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to share my opinion about Ohio State and how they continue to be the chase team, and it's the way for them to get better. To me, and for me, I have always said Caleb Downs needs to be the full-time punt returner. I don't care what you say about, well, Jay, he's your best player on defense. You want to risk his body and risk injury? Look, man, when I came up watching college football and football in general, well, more college and NFL, whoever the best option was back there the entire time. Every time. And to me, the best option for Ohio State to return punts is Caleb Downs, and it's not even close. No. Maybe you want to say Jeremiah Smith, but we haven't even seen Jeremiah Smith do anything at that level that says, oh, he should be out there all the time. No. Brandon Inniss return for a touchdown during his freshman year at Alabama, and I believe he returned no more than 5 punts. Last year at Ohio State, broke a 10-year drought of not having a punt returned for a touchdown, and it was almost like to the day, and maybe it was to the day. Okay, and that was with limited duty of returning punts. So why would you not put it back there now? Oh, injuries? He plays safety. Excuse me. Let's go a little bit crazy. He plays football. He might get hurt when he steps on the field. That's a risk every player and every coach realizes. If I put you out here, there's a risk of you getting hurt. If I step between those lines, there is a risk of me getting hurt. And that's something you know when you get on the field. I might get hurt. That doesn't mean I'm going to. And I think for downs, return them punts, man. Return the punts every single time the opposing team gets on the field to punt. When it comes to kickoffs, Bryson Rodgers and Marlon Graham need to be back there. Inniss, get off the field. If you want to put downs back there for this too, cool. But for me, for my guess or my gut, give me Bryson Rodgers and Marlon Graham D to return a kickoff and let the chips fall where they may. It's a big moment for the Buckeyes as they return to the field. And guys, we're in the midst of another big moment for Locked On because Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Desi Holly, and Locked On local experts, a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. You can follow me on any social media platform or jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes on a Monday. We'll see you next time.